Microsoft's cloud subscriptions were confusing enough, but now they've decided to rename some of their Office 365 plans to Microsoft 365. Now that would be fine, except Microsoft 365 already existed and were well understood to mean Office 365 plus additional services. Now some of the Microsoft 365 plans include those additional services and others don't. They're basically just Office 365, except Office 365 still exists as well. There are now about 20 different plans before you consider government, not-for-profit, or individual services. This video is going to help you break those down so you know which subscription to buy. My name's David Chappell, and I'm the Business Development Manager for Dynamic Business Technologies. To help you find the most cost-effective solution, I'm going to split the subscriptions into 4 categories. We've got home use, small business, enterprise, and first-line workers. As we go through the different plans, I'll introduce the different features. First of all, let's start with home subscriptions. As the name suggests, these are for personal use, at home. The home subscription gives you access to client apps, but you're not licensed for business use. The client apps are the familiar Microsoft Office applications, such as Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and their mobile equivalents. Now the mobile bit is a little bit interesting, because you can download and use these mobile apps for free anyway, but once you get past a 10.1 inch screen size, they become a read-only, without a valid subscription. In addition to client apps, these plans also come with personal online storage in the form of OneDrive for Business, and you get 60 minutes of Skype time a month. The difference between the Microsoft 365 Personal Plan and the Microsoft 365 Family Plan is that the Personal Plan allows you for just one person to use, whereas the Family Plan allows for 6 people. Note that this is a limit for people, not devices. Next up, we've got the Small Business tier. Now an important note here is that all of the small business plans include a 300 user limit. If you've got more than that many people, you're going to have to up at least some of them to the enterprise plan instead. The first small business plan that we've got is Microsoft 365 Apps for Business, and as the name suggests, this only includes client apps. It's very similar to Microsoft 365 Personal in fact. You don't get the Skype minutes, but you are licensed for business use. Next, we've got Microsoft 365 Business Basic. This subscription doesn't give you the client apps, so no Word, no Excel, no Outlook, but you do get the cloud productivity services. So you get Exchange, you get SharePoint, Teams, and OneDrive. This gives you file sharing, document management, workflow, collaboration, and unified communications. Microsoft 365 Business Standard basically combines apps for business with Business Basic, so you get both the client applications along with the cloud productivity services. Microsoft 365 Business Premium takes everything in Microsoft 365 Business Standard and adds on a few extras as well. The apps in Microsoft 365 Business Premium include shared computer activation. This bypasses the normal 5 computers per person limit. Now that's very important if you have people that share desks. For example, if they hot desk or they use different servers in a remote desktop or Citrix farm. Business Premium also includes virtual desktop access rights. This allows users to access a virtual desktop running in Azure or in an on-premise virtual desktop environment. Now to be clear, this does not give you a free desktop in Azure. You still have to pay for the desktop itself. It just scratches one licensing fee off the list. Business Premium also includes what I'm going to call the Security and Device Management Services. This column in the table is essentially the E3 tier of Microsoft Enterprise's Mobility and Security Suite. As the name suggests, that is a security-focused selection of products aimed at securing your data and devices against the modern threat landscape. Enterprise Mobility and Security is not dependent on the cloud productivity services, but the two are complementary. The cloud productivity services make your data available to you almost everywhere. First off, we've got Microsoft 365 Apps for Enterprise. Just like Apps for Business, this gives you the client apps, but no cloud productivity services. Compared to Apps for Business, Apps for Enterprise has no 300 user limit, it includes shared computer activation, and it enables a few additional features that are used by the higher tier cloud productivity services. Office 365 E1 is the enterprise equivalent of Microsoft 365 Business Basic. You get the cloud productivity services, but you don't get any of the client-side apps. The enterprise versions give you client access licenses for the equivalent on-premise services. The E1 plan gives you the standard CALs, and the E3 and E5 plans give you enterprise CALs. These come with the enterprise plans because large organizations are more likely to be running a hybrid infrastructure.
This is handy because it means you don't have to license your cloud services and your on-premise services separately. In fact, because Microsoft are really trying to push people towards the cloud services, quite often you'll find the cheapest way to license your on-premise service is actually buying the cloud subscriptions, even if you don't intend on using the cloud services. Now onto Office 365 E3, and you might get a sense of similarity here, because Office 365 E3 does what Microsoft 365 Business Standard did before it. It takes the previous two subscriptions and mashes them together. Office 365 E3 is the equivalent of Office 365 E1 plus Microsoft 365 Apps for Enterprise. You get both the client applications and the cloud productivity services. Office 365 E5 takes Office 365 E3 and adds additional security, compliance, and productivity services. These extra security features are different from the ones further to the right of the table that come from Enterprise Mobility and Security. These advanced features add additional layers of security and compliance controls specifically to the cloud productivity services. The Microsoft 365 Enterprise subscriptions are essentially the same thing as the Office 365 Enterprise subscriptions with the same name, plus additional security features, plus Windows 10 Enterprise. The additional security features are the equivalent of the Enterprise Mobility and Security, and the Windows 10 license is, again, the equivalent of the Enterprise tier as well. So Microsoft 365 E3 equals Office 365 E3, plus Enterprise Mobility and Security E3, plus Windows 10 Enterprise E3. Microsoft 365 E5 equals Office 365 E5, plus Enterprise Mobility and Security E5, plus Windows 10 Enterprise E5. The E5 subscription adds a few additional security features compared to the E3 subscription, such as Azure Advanced Threat Protection, Cloud App Security, and Windows Defender Advanced Threat Protection. Now we're on to the Firstline worker subscriptions, and these are intended for people who only occasionally use their computer as part of their job. Now as a result, they're a lot cheaper than the enterprise equivalents, but also a lot more limited. A user with the F3 license can access the same sort of services as a user with an Office 365 E1 license, but they can only use the web apps. They can use the mobile apps as long as their screen size isn't any bigger than 10.1 inches, but they can't use the desktop apps at all. They do get an Exchange Online mailbox, but it's limited to 2 GB in size, and they can't use Outlook with it. In addition to Office 365 F3, you've also got Microsoft 365 F1 and F3. The current Microsoft 365 F3 is the old Microsoft 365 F1 that's been renamed, and the current Microsoft 365 F1 is a new subscription. The Microsoft 365 F3 that exists now is the equivalent of Office 365 F3 that exists now, plus additional security services, plus Windows 10 Enterprise and virtual desktop access. Microsoft 365 F1 is a new and even more limited subscription. As with all of the Firstline subscriptions, the cloud productivity services are stripped down, but this time you only get some of them. So you do get SharePoint and Teams, for example, but you don't get Exchange, so no email. You get the additional security services that come with F3, but you don't get the Windows licenses.
Thank you for watching my video on Microsoft 365 subscriptions. If you have any further questions as to what the subscriptions can give you, or anything about the Microsoft Suite itself, please feel free to give me a call, 0401 194 163, or email me at david.chappell@dbtechnologies.com.au.